Morning everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Northwest Craftsman. So today I wanted to give you a quick update on how things are going with the new house and the new land that we have. I haven't been able to record absolutely everything that we've been doing, but I hope that this gives you a decent overview of kind of what's going on and what our plans are and kind of where things are moving to. All right, let's get started over here. So if you'll remember, we had this shed and we were thinking we might want to move it. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with it, but we decided that right in this area is where we want to put the pole barn that we're eventually going to have. Because it just fits best with where the house is. And the only alternate spot that we had was up here on this hill. But the problem that we were running into was we didn't want the bottom of the pole barn to be right on top of the house and then also sticking 20 feet on top. So we decided we want to put it here, which meant that the shed either needed to move or come down, and we decided we'd try and move it first. But as you can see, that effort went pretty poorly. Effectively, I tried to support the awnings all the way across. I ran beams across the center of the shed, and then we also supported all the walls and added cross members so that it was more rigid. The awning support actually worked much better than I expected it to, but overall this entire thing just kind of fell apart as we tried lifting it with a front loader with fork extensions on it. It's kind of a much longer story than what I'm giving right now. But what we'll end up doing is taking this guy down, building a new shed over on top of the hill near where we think the garden's going to be, and then we'll start prepping this site for the pole barn. I am planning on doing a whole set of videos on the pole barn so that you guys can see like what I did, what the decisions were, and what are the things that you need to think about if you're going to be putting a pole barn in. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming in the next couple of months. But yeah, so that was one part of what we're doing here. And then back here, you can see this is the initial place that we cleared with all the blackberries and all the nastiness that was back here. And it's stayed back pretty nicely. You can see the blackberries starting to come back a little bit, and they're not coming back as quickly as they will this spring because it's still pretty chilly out. So they're a little bit more dormant than they would be, but we'll go through and we'll clear this out a little bit better, and then we'll probably try and more permanently get rid of the blackberries come this spring when everything starts coming back. But this kind of starts the next phase of what we were looking to do, which was clear the property line. So here's the start of our property line on the north side, and it kind of stretches on along that direction. But I wanted to show you guys something. If you've never seen one of these before, this little tiny yellow cap on the bottom, this is a piece of rebar that goes into the ground, and it's called a monument. If you're ever looking up the surveys for your property, they will have any of the monuments that are marked, and then usually a note of what type of monuments. This is a quicker monument. They've also got ones that are poured in concrete with little tiny metal caps on the top so that they can set the surveying equipment directly onto the spot that they need to. But basically it marks a specific location on the survey that we have for the property. So we use this, and then we basically were able to figure out where the property line came moving in this direction. If we wanted to get an official survey, we could, but this gives us a good enough idea of where things are with respect to the rest of our property line. And so what we did is we came through here, and as you can see, we just started clearing any of the stuff that was on our side of the property line, plus a little bit over, so that we had a little bit of room to work. So we continued on along down the property line through here. We didn't really have to do that much clearing up in this area because it was pretty good to start with. Once we hit this spot, really started to get a lot thicker, and so we're still trying to figure out what we want to do with like this clump right here. But the property line runs just on the other side of those trees. And then coming down through here, we'll get to where we started doing some much more serious work. And then actually you can kind of see it in here. If you look at the original drone shots, you can see how overgrown just this individual portion was. But we came back and we started clearing all the brush out of this area back here, and you can see the property line with that stake right back there. I'll point it out on the video if you can't see it, but right there. And then coming in here, we're starting to get close to where we wanted the pasture to start. So we started clearing it a little bit more aggressively, and here's where you start to see the big old slash piles that we have. So look in this direction on the property. The thought is that we're going to be putting the pasture just to the left of that big fir right there. We're going to run the fence all the way down along through here, basically where you can see it being bare, all the way down through here up until the actual property line. And then in here, just like in the very first video that I posted of clearing the property, I basically had to hack and slash my way through here just to clear a little bit on the edge. But over the last couple of days, my wife and I have been able to clear out all of this. See if I can't get this without glare. All of this out right here. So all of this is much clearer than it used to be, and we kind of roughly marked along the ground where we want the fence to go, just making sure that we could get down to bare ground. And I mean, it's going to be a nightmare to try and put fence up in this, but I'll share with you guys how that goes as best I can. It's a little bit hard because we're trying to hurry so that we can move in, so filming kind of takes a second seat to just actually getting the work done. But yeah, coming through here, comes up, and then right around here, I didn't even see this at first when we were coming through the property because it was so dense. We've got a drainage culvert here, so we'll end up popping the fence up and around and then coming up through here. But even the fact that I could walk through this is just amazing to me. You can see the slash piles. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 over there. There's a really big one up here, and I'll show you guys where that came from here in a second. But the other thing that I'm finding on the property is trash, 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 big metal water tank of some kind. So it looks like this property was just kind of being used as a dumping ground for people, as they would probably just come down this road and throw their trash over the edge. Plus we've got a big road up there. So it's just easy for people to do it. So if you needed a reminder, I bet you most of you don't if you're listening to this channel, but don't litter. It gets on other people's property and then we have to clean it up. Anywho, rant over. But there's also all of this like old conduit or old pipe or something in there, and I've made sure that it's pretty much all empty, but you can see it looks like a big spool was out here. But anyways, long story short, or long story long really, there's a ton of work that's been done on this side of the property just to get the fence line clear so that we can put a fence up so that the horse can get in here. So I just walked out from over there. This is where the vast majority of our work has gone up until this point. So up here, we cleared out everything, absolutely everything except for anything that was big all the way up to the fence line, and holy cow. It was a lot of work, but it does help to have some some diesel involved with that to just power some machines and clear it off. So that worked really well. We still got to go through and clean up all the little stuff, but by and large, it's pretty clear. That turned into this slash pile right here, which is the biggest one that we have. And so we're gonna burn it at some point. We tried to get it started, but it's still just so green because we only cut everything like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's been a little bit tough to get started. So we may have to wait until a little bit later this winter, but I don't really want to try and wait until next summer when it's going to be really dry, because I don't want this to get too big and burn too hot and too fast. I really do want it to be a little bit more controlled. So a little bit of green, a little bit of wet is okay with me, but that's what that looks like. Up there where you see the sun coming through, that is where I had the initial slash and cut through that I was filming at the very beginning. So next to this little clump of hazelnuts, or just behind it, that's where Hannah was cutting the blackberries in the drone footage in the original video. And then I was up there along the fence line. So you guys can see just like truly how much clearer it is here. And I'll show a couple, or I will show or have already interspersed. It's a little bit hard when I'm ahead of time when I'm putting this together. But all the different clearing that we've done with the front loader to get everything nice and clear. We do also have a whole bunch of these big rocks that we need to get rid of. This is a teeny tiny one compared to some of the big ones. We got that one. And then I don't know if you see it up there with the sun in the background, but there's a really big one right up there. So we'll have to figure out what we want to do with all of these rocks. We've started making a little rock pile right here where there was already a pile. So we'll probably end up continuing doing that. But yeah, lots and lots of progress, lots of work, but I'm really excited with how it's coming out. Alrighty, so thank you guys for sticking around on this update. I know that this isn't the flashiest or coolest or most helpful video for you guys, but I know that I've been pretty radio silent on what's been happening on the property since I did that initial video. I've had some other videos that are coming out from other projects that I've done, so you guys are seeing some of those, but yeah, thank you guys for joining me, and I'm really excited to see where this property goes, and I'll try and keep you guys in the loop as best I can. But I know that most of this is for the subscribers that actually care what's happening around here, as opposed to the rest of the internet, which is just kind of looking for helpful stuff on woodworking and otherwise. But there's going to be a decent amount of this type of content, hopefully a little bit more in the weeds than this overview video. But when we're installing the fence, we'll try and get a few videos in for that. When we're doing the horse barn, I'll try and get some videos in for that so that you guys can see what's going on there, and then just generally helpful things for you guys to consider when you guys are doing something like this in the future. So anyways, thank you guys for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I will talk to you later. Have a great one. Bye.